By PC Pod or Pad, you are watching Pay to Play, and my name is Rob Farker, suddenly realizing that maybe I ought to be making sure that I've got my microphone levels adjusted because I don't seem to be getting all that much sound through my mic. Hang on one sec. Oh, then again, the little green lights on Google seem to be showing a fair bit of noise. But yes, if I'm not sure how well you can see it. Actually, I think you can see it pretty well. But look, I have a new microphone, the Audio Technica ATR 2100 USB mic that, levels are at 100%, okay. That I ordered through PC Case Gear. I've got a ding-dong on my phone, maybe I ought to silence that. But yes, it arrived in Gordon Vale on Wednesday, and I picked it up from the post office on Friday afternoon. And here it is, and it seems to be serving me very well so far. I've recorded 2 chats with it. Yesterday morning, I'll talk a little bit more about those a little later on. Yes, event is starting now. All right, so let's just turn you down, shall we? There we go. All right, folks, it's Sunday morning here in sunny Cairns. Of course, I've got my curtains drawn because I want to mask any noise from the weekend warriors who will most likely be out and riding at some point. And thank you very much for watching along. It looks like it's just a solo one today. Poor old Mitchell Davies has had some technical issues which are preventing him from logging in. Anyway, the first thing I kind of wanted to share is something I only just discovered. I noticed that I've had a gradual preponderance of folks liking the Pay to Play podcast over the last few days. And I just decided, on Facebook, I should say, and I just decided to go and have a look. Where are we? And actually, that's something I do very, very, very quickly want to do. I'm a little bit on the disorganized side right at the moment. That. Okay. All right, that's live on there. And let's just do a very quick... and that is an actual thought. It's probably not a bad idea if I actually go to paidtoplay.com.au and make sure that my chat, yes, which I am actually launching today, episode 83, my chat with Kimberly Clark, a self-published author of urban fantasy and I'd say paranormal romance, except she goes in more for the spicy rather than the gooey stuff. She does characterize herself as an erotic urban fantasy author. So please go along and have a listen. And if you've got it in your podcast feeds, download it, have a listen, give it a rating and a review. But anyway, so that episode is actually live, and let's make sure that if I refresh the Pay to Play podcast page at the moment, I need to check and ensure that it's actually up on there as a live link. So hopefully you'll... where was I? I was about to say that. Oh, quit thinking about it. There we go. All right. So very quickly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to unpin my current pinned post, which is the one for Ann Torek, which launched a couple of weeks ago, and then pin the one for Kimberly. So quit bouncing around, you rotten thing. Pin to top. There we go. So that's all sorted out on Facebook, and before I forget anything else, I'd better make sure it is also up on Patreon. But there is a point that I'm trying to get to that I haven't been, and it's that on Facebook on Pay to Play. I am up from around about 160 likes a few days ago to 253. So that's absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much, everybody who has discovered the podcast over the last couple of days. And I have the sneaking suspicion that it is down to the machinations of one person in particular. Her name is Jen Page. I interviewed her on Saturday, and she is, oh, bloody heck. When I introduced the show, you know how I always like to say, it's about the dangerous idea of bringing your whole self, especially the bits of you that you worry make you seem silly, geeky, or odd into your income generating life is one of the best things you can do. I really think that Jen is pretty much the poster girl for your whole self, including silliness, geekiness, and oddness. I mean, she has a day job in the video game industry. She is the, I'm not sure whether she's the casual community manager or one of the casual community managers, but I'm pretty sure from our chat that is her entire brief for Microsoft. For crying out loud, capital M Microsoft. She works for Microsoft for her day job, doing outreach to people who play their library of casual games. But she is also an actor. All my geek mates out there, Simon and Crystal, you showed me the fan movie, The Gamers Darkness Rising, a little while back. She is in that. She also had a brief guest appearance in the original The Gamers movie. So if you can catch either of those, go check them out. You can also see her in a current web series called Chop Socky Boom, which is kind of a situation comedy about a bunch of folks who have no talent as martial artists landing a gig working for a working in a kung fu TV series. Yeah, she is a gamer. She knows a ton of people, and she said she was basically spreading the word about the podcast a little bit. So yes, an extra 91 likes this week, according to Facebook, and I'm pretty sure it is all down to Jen. So Jen, I don't know if you're watching this. If not, I'm going to make sure I send you a link to it. But thank you very bloody much. And all you folks who have joined in, I hope you'll consider backing the podcast on Patreon, even if you just chip in $1 an episode. I mean, if I got, you know, all 90 of you folks who just recently liked the podcast, or even half of you folks who just liked the podcast chipping in $1 an episode, that would be fantastic. You know, I would be able to, I'm not exactly sure what I'd be able to do that. The first thing I do would be to take my wife out to a dinner. She's way, you know, we've not gone out for bloody ages. It's kind of how tight things are at our end at the moment, unfortunately. But yes, it would be, I would certainly be investing in that. After that, I don't know, maybe some video recording gear, saving up for an upgrade to my PC. Yeah, I don't really have a huge want list, but yeah, just having that kind of money would allow me to sit down and start considering things that I figure I probably would not have even bothered with, simply because, you know, I don't have that much money coming in after expenses. So yeah, why wish for things that you can't have? Anyway, where was I? So yes, that was some whopping great news. And very quickly, before I forget again, speaking of Patreon, I had really better make sure that this episode goes up as a paid post. And this will probably take me a couple of seconds, so bear with me as I sort of stare intently at my screen. Where are we? Juggle your tabs so you've got them all in one place. Copy link location. I don't want to upload a damn thing. I just want to delete that. Formatting these things can be a bit of a pain. All right. Yes, that is a paid post. Guest headshot. There we go. Okay, you can see this post. Everyone in the world, post now. All right, and I will leave that to do its thing. And another thing I'd really better do is make sure that this episode is actually live on YouTube. There we go. Good thinking about it. I mean, it's all uploaded and ready to go. I just have it private, of course, so that folks cannot get to it until it is actually live. So, video manager. Sorry, again, more staring at the screen here. And pictures, paid to play, YouTube covers. Kimberly Clark. There we go. Open that. And yeah, that is another thing. I think I've been doing it a lot, speaking on the general Patreon topic, but on the Patreon front, in terms of buying things, I do really want to thank my Patreon backers for enabling this, purchasing this Audio Technica microphone. I might just get the box for it. Here we go. So this is basically what I've got. After my Bearing a Podcast Studio kit crapped out on me, unfortunately, I needed to, of course, replace it with something decent, because when I know how to use this headset mic, it's not bad, but really the results aren't fantastic, especially compared to a decent microphone like this one. If you listen to the last couple of launch parties I did, or even the last, actually this chat with Kimberly Clark, unfortunately for that one, I have to apologize. I had this microphone, notice that, pretty much right in front of my mouth. So it picked up a lot of breath noise and a lot of plosive pops, which I basically cleaned out all the audio on my end that wasn't me speaking. And I got a fella by the name of Cody Boyce, who is part of the Podcast Discovery Center, and which is a group on Facebook. And he is also the co-host, giving you a shout out here, Cody, to the Rogue Squadron podcast. It's kind of a Star Wars fan podcast, although it's a little bit more casual, just a couple of guys and the occasional guest sitting around having a couple of beers and gabbing about whatever takes their interest. And usually whatever takes their interest happens to be Star Wars or pop culture science fiction. Oh, that's the darn filter again. Excuse me, folks. When I asked on the PDC for some assistance with cleaning up the file, Cody basically said, give me the file and I will see what I can do with it. So he did a great job on it. It could have been a lot worse than the final version. And yes, I just want to say thank you very much again. Aside from that, I think as you folks on the Facebook group and who follow me on Twitter may have seen, over the last couple of weeks, I've been talking about the people who are going to be coming up next on the show. There were 3 of them that I had in the can. Sebastian Ringette, who is a webcomic artist and author, fantastic Canadian fellow who also has a day job in education. There was also Bernadette Bentley, who is another person like Jen Page, who has gone absolutely all in on herself. She is a personality and a half. She is an actor. She is a cosplayer. She sings, she dances, she hosts events. She and some mates organize a regular geek-themed fashion show. She turns up at cons and she does a phenomenal Xena cosplay. I mean, blink and you could mistake her for Lucy Lawless. And she was great to talk with. And then I don't know if I've mentioned that Cairns is getting another pop culture convention this year. I probably have, but I will mention it again. The Cairns Talk PopCon is happening on Saturday, October the 15th. And they are inviting back a whole bunch of folks who were up here for Tropicon last year, including my previous guests, Evie Dantes, Twerk and Gherkin, Wayne Nichols, and I also got a chat with another cosplayer by the name of Feisty Cuffs, who is building a name for herself, so much so that while she is not perhaps strictly getting paid to play yet, it is working out for her in terms of being an invited guest to cons and having those expenses paid and being able to appear as a named guest to speak at panels, to judge cosplay competitions, all that sort of thing. So it was great having her on the show. Unfortunately, I discovered that for my chats for those three people, the plugin that I used to record from Skype had somehow only recorded my side of the conversation. So yeah, there was me introducing the show and saying, "Oh, so tell us a bit about yourself," and dead silence. And then I go, and more dead silence. And I might even laugh at something witty that my guest had said, which you couldn't even friggin' hear. So basically, I had to scrap those three interviews, which was bloody unfortunate because as of this yesterday morning, it meant that, once Kimberly's episode went live, I had no chats in the can. Thankfully, I did a couple on Saturday morning, so I got up bright and early for a chat with a lady by the name of Brittany Bow, but everyone just calls her Bebo. She is a board game enthusiast. She works for a distribution company that provides board games to friendly local gaming stores and other outlets. And she is basically their marketing specialist. She gets to work from home, all while being a single mum to a 5-year-old daughter. And of course, she and my guest for episode 77, Terry Lee Torco, co-host a website and podcast that they call The Board Dames, which is great fun. They've only got 4 episodes out at the moment, but they are going to be working on some more. So listen to those 4 if you haven't already. And yeah, it was great fun chatting with Bebo and the aforementioned Jen Page. I spoke with after chatting with Bebo. And yeah, I don't know what I can really say about Jen that I haven't said already, aside from thank you again for directing even more of those likes toward my page. Speaking of, let me just, where are we on the social media updates? Okay, that's good. That is up on YouTube, not YouTube, on my Twitter feed. Now, is anybody watching along right at the moment? Let's have a quick look. Does the episode 3 launch party say we've got anybody along? Does not look like it right at the moment. Okay. So I've got it up on Patreon. It's up on Facebook. It is up on Twitter, but I do need to pin it very quickly. So here we go. Pin to your profile page. There we are. And let's share that on Rob F. So yes, once again, I'm just staring very quickly at the screen. Like it, so my phone will probably vibrate in a sec. I'll probably do some later retweeting just to see if I can get some folks in the some of my fellow authors, some of Kim's fellow authors, and some folks who novelists who are following me on Twitter to do some listening and perhaps retweeting, but that can wait for the moment. What else did I kind of want to mention? Let's have a look. Episode 83 launch party. Okay, last time I chatted with you fine folks for one of these launch parties. Mitch and I kind of had a talk about changing these launch parties to brainstorming get-togethers, especially as my other $11 an episode backer can't get into Google Hangouts. And as I mentioned, I'm a little bit worried about this episode basically competing with the actual episode that I launch on the site. I'm putting out lots of content at once. And Mitch suggested maybe doing a thing where I put the episode live, then I have a get-together as the private brainstorming, and then we do a public launch, because I think he's keen on having a being part of a podcast and sort of an online chat kind of thing, which is fair enough. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it, basically because that involves it's kind of 3 chunks of my time, if you know what I mean. I've got the one event where I schedule where the episode goes live, then I'm spending an hour or so with the private mastermind, and then it's another hour for these chats. So what I might do, though, is actually give it a try and see how it works. So I think, pardon me, I'm just checking my schedule here, which is over on the whiteboard on the wall. Sorry about that. Okay, I'm thinking of maybe shifting the launch to Wednesday mornings, Australia time, Tuesday afternoons, US time, so that that will actually give people a chance to download and listen to the episode, especially the folks who might want to come along to the private brainstorming, because then we can talk about the episode a little bit and then bounce around ideas of our own and how we can sort of take that and get paid to play. And the tempting thought is to basically just do a straight up back-to-back, the private mastermind, and then a public launch party or some sort of public thing for the episode itself. So probably, well, I suppose, if you can have a grand opening of a store, you can launch a podcast episode after it's gone live. So we'll see how we go. So that will mean that my chat with Bebo, I think I keep nudging this with my headset cord, would be going live probably on either June the 22nd or the 29th. And June the 22nd, I'm playing Pathfinder online, so I'm not sure if it will be. Do I do it then? I mean, I'm going to be setting it up so that it launches on a Tuesday, the Wednesday morning anyway. So when it goes live, I will be at work, and it won't be, probably won't be a big deal anyway. And as long as I get tweets and whatever scheduled beforehand, I should be all good. Aside from that, there is still that idea of when I get home, I'm going to be occupied with other things, but still, sometimes you just have to give things a try and see how they work. So I tell you what, I will see about launching episode, what will it be? It will be episode 84. Yes, all right. Episode 84 on Tuesday, June the 21st, Wednesday, June the 22nd. And rather than having a launch party, I will see about actually doing a private mastermind. So I'll see if we can get Mitchell and Birdie and Mike Diamond, my $11 an episode sponsors, in on that. And we will see how that goes. Will there be a launch party as well? I don't know. Even if we don't do the brainstorming and the launch party back-to-back, there is still the point that these Google Hangouts, Birdie and Mike simply cannot get into. So it might be an issue of just the one or the other. But we'll see how things go. One way or another, I think it will be a Saturday afternoon US, Sunday morning Australian thing still, just so that my Saturday, anyone from the US who wants to join up can do so without having to basically dash home from work early on a Friday afternoon or anything like that. So that's kind of the plan, and I will get everything scheduled soon and ready to go. So that changeover will happen. I will need to do a little bit of investigation as to what platform the private Hangouts will go on. Google Hangouts are kind of an out. Again, Birdie and Mike can't get into those. Previously, when we've had chats, we've used Firefox Hello. So how well that works with multiple chatters, I don't know. I suppose there is Skype, but then again, I know that Birdie and Mike have also had trouble with that also. And there is another something I tried out recently, recommended by the folks at the Podcast Discovery Center, called Blab, which is pretty good, but it tops out at about 4 people whom at least can chat live. So I don't know. I'll see how I go there. I might have a fiddle and we'll just see how it works, because at least that way we get all of us on screen at once and we can all see each other. Aside from that, how has play been going? Well, VoiceWork has been kind of on hold until I got this bad boy, but I have let the folks who I got in touch with at the Voice Acting Alliance know that my kit is ready to go, and I am interested in doing pieces for them. Birdie and Mike are going to be sending me some stuff for the 5 minutes 40 seconds that they've got stored up as part of their Patreon backing. And I also saw another project. Someone's was asking for auditions on the VAA forum for a Star Wars The Old Republic based web series. So we will see what happens there. I sent off an email, said, you know what the hell, a couple of these parts look interesting, I'll give them a whirl. So yeah, aside from that, I think I talked a little bit previously about some big ideas I'd had about doing the podcast as a business, especially after chatting with CJ Ripka for his Raw and Real podcast. Go check that out on Raw and Real, all one word, .podbean.com. I think my episode was 26. So he mentioned during it that one of the things he does is he's basically kind of a full-time podcaster. And I'd really like to get him on the show, because apparently things have sort of changed circumstances-wise for him. And they've changed his overall work on podcasting and how much he's doing right at the moment. So we'll see. I'd be really keen to talk to him about, you know, what those were and how he's gone about adapting and what that sort of meant for his overall working life. Oh, my phone has gone buzz. I don't know whether that means I'm getting a someone just trying to say, hey, I'm here. Are you online? No, that's probably just me liking my own tweets on the Play podcast. But anyway, getting back to the point, I had been talking about the idea of maybe liaising with companies and doing podcasts for them. But I don't know. Part of me wants to use my limited time and just concentrate on one thing at the moment. And I think that one thing is kind of, well, but yeah, I think I just want to just see how I go with voice work first. I don't know whether that just means I'm chickening out a little bit, or whether I'm understanding my own limits, and maybe I could probably, if I spent a little bit of time just on developing pitches for companies as a podcaster, maybe I could give it, you know, maybe there's something that I could just work in and earn a bit of extra cash from. So maybe this is a lesson in self-doubt and how it can slow you down. Instead of just saying, bugger it, go all in on myself and see where it takes me. So we'll see we'll see what happens. Right at the moment, I've got to admit, I've not been doing a great amount of work on my pitch. And maybe I just need to get together with the people involved and actually discuss the idea with them directly and see what they reckon. I always worry a bit that I don't really have the marketing stats behind me or what have you, but and also because I work basically an 8:30 to 5:30 job, and the company who I am with, I'm pretty sure, are sort of on a 9 to 5 schedule as well. I'm not sure exactly when I'd be able to get together with them to record episodes of the show. But heck, again, maybe this is just me trying to shoot my own idea down before I've even really given it a serious go, and I don't know really what might make it succeed or fail. Look, anyway, I think we've pretty much, it's 9 o'clock. There's just the one of me on at the moment, and I do have a few things that I need to get done in the yard this morning. There's a big pile of dirt that I need to shift before my wife and I head out this afternoon. So I might wrap things up there because I think I've pretty much covered everything that I want to say right at the moment. Thank you all very much for watching. Please keep an eye out on June the 22nd for episode 84 of my podcast, where I chat with Bebo about getting to work full-time, espousing her love of tabletop games for a day job. It was a great little chat, and it was actually a kind of neat little chat. I completely forgot to ask her about the board games that she loves. We just kind of stayed on topic with her career. So there wasn't as much geeking out, which is probably why it was only around about half an hour. But yeah, it is, if you are interested in board gaming and what working in the industry involves, you will find it very informative, I'm sure. So look, until then, this is, and if you'll give me a second while I just look down at my screen. Yes, this is Rob Farquhar asking you to be kind, be good, and be a little dangerous.